This is A New Nigeria with Wale Oluwade. This is your current affairs program where we critically examine the strategic issues that bedevil Nigeria's developmental aspirations and boldly offer simple, practical, but audacious ideas on building the Nigeria of our collective desires. On today's episode of the program, I have a guest with whom we'll be taking an environmental scan on the state of our dear nation, Nigeria. But before then, I would also give my take on the recent electricity hike by NERC, that's the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. So we'll take this short break, and when I come back, I'll give my take on that issue. Thank you. Please stay with us. Welcome back. And here is my take on the electricity tariff hike. Recently, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, announced a hike in tariff for electricity consumers in Nigeria from 68 naira to 225 naira kilowatt per hour. It categorized consumers according to hours of availability of electricity from 20 hours to 8 hours daily within bands A to E. Now, the discos, that's the distribution companies, are the weakest link in the Nigerian electricity supply industry chain. These are bedeviled by a number of chronic challenges, including poor financial capacity, aggregate technical, commercial, and collection losses, metering gap, technical competence, etc. But rather than confronting these identified challenges frontally, the NERC chose the path of least resistance and, might I add, the usual scapegoats, Nigerians, to punish. What do I mean? So, in my opinion, the recent tariff hike is to the consumers cruel, cynical, exploitative, and highly insensitive. To the economy generally, it is another evidence of the federal government's resort to its default reflex of quick fixes rather than addressing the fundamental issues of our economic quagmire. Sadly, this recent hike would yield no positive results. Specifically, the numerous challenges of the entire electricity sector can be best summarized as poor planning, 2, lack of investment, and 3, lack of patriotism. In which advanced economy do they rely exclusively on a single source of electricity when there are several options to generate, transmit, and distribute a stable, affordable, and sustainable electricity? To compound matters, Nigeria has not only done this, but even worse, relied exclusively on gas as its main source of electricity. On investment, the energy privatization of 2011-2013 thereabouts was a sham exercise which merely gifted the distribution companies to cronies. These entities that were given the distribution companies had neither the financial nor technical competence to develop the sector to global best standards. Consider the most basic of its duties. The discos lack the financial depth to meter customers and collect revenues. Where on earth and in what industry does this happen? I mean, all of us have mobile phones, or majority of us have mobile phones. Nobody gets airtime if you don't pay the telcos. You don't get airtime. You don't go to a gas station to buy gas if you don't pay, for your car or for cooking gas. You pay. But Nigerian discos have been unable to meter consumers of electricity to be able to collect their revenues. And so we have this huge number of volume of unmetered consumers. Now, and this brings me to the issue of patriotism. At the same time, the NERC, that's the NERC, rolled out its tariff hike rates, the Central Bank of Nigeria also announced new capital requirements, for banks. The banks do not face any imminent risk of systemic collapse. Quite the contrary, to say. The 2023 financial results of most Tier 1 deposit money banks indicates a staggering profit after tax, as you can see on your screen. So here's my point. Now, in the case of the banks, never mind whether it's a great irony that the banks are churning out these huge profits while the economy is in a parlous, condition. Some have argued that the banks actually, engage in arbitrage or currency speculation, but that's a debate for another day. So here's my point. Which sector between the energy sector or the financial sector requires urgent capital injection? The banks or the electricity sector? While the banks are in robust health, the energy sector, however, particularly the discos, are anemic and on life support. This requires urgent capital injection to survive. Why the NERC took the decision is quite obvious. What's the reason? The federal government of Nigeria owns at least 40% in all the 11 discos, in some even more. Now, the federal government didn't insist on recapitalization of discos to having to shell out money, but chose to burden an already overburdened and overstretched Nigerians with its own financial responsibilities. What then is the duty of government? Now, in conclusion, here are my suggested solutions. Number one, rescind the tariff hike immediately. Number two, mandate the discos to increase their share capital to 500 billion in the next 12 months. That is 1 year. Mandate discos to close the initial 7 million metering gap in 1 year using local meter providers. Number four, aggressive solar power development in the 6 regions of Nigeria to achieve minimum 10 gigawatts or 10,000 megawatts in 1 year. Number five, unbundle the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, to the states and the local governments. And number six, urgently revisit the Mambila Hydro Power Plant. And number seven, roll out and implement a strict governance and compliance framework for operators in the entire Nigerian electricity supply industry. 8, develop a clear, simple, and implementable energy sufficiency roadmap to attain 30,000 megawatts or 30 gigawatts by 2034, leveraging more on solar, hydro, coal, gas, wind, and bioresources in that order. The strategic objectives being to drastically reduce our overdependency on gas with all its associated challenges with regards to cost and logistics. And that's my take. I'll take this short break, and then when we come back, I'll get into the conversation with my guests. Stay with us, please. Welcome back. My guest today is Mr. Higo Akerega, formerly Abuja Bureau Chief for the Guardian newspaper, President, Civil Liberties Organization, member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, but currently Executive Assistant to the Governor of Delta State. On media. So what's going on with the recent spate of killings? 17 soldiers, a lieutenant colonel, 2 majors and other servicemen were butchered. And I've listened to the Chief of Defense Staff, a number of interviews after the gruesome incident. What could have been responsible? And then as we're still trying to grapple with that, then it came to light that 12 policemen had previously been declared missing. Eventually their corpses were found. What's going on in Delta State, Igo?
Well, it's very unfortunate that the long peace that we have had in Delta State since the former governor's period, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, and then of course, Right Honorable Sharif Oborewori, since he became governor, he has made peace the focal point of the administration. The governor is not, everybody who knows him knows he's a man of peace. He has a very simple agenda, 4-point agenda, which is pursuing very holistically, that is meaningful development, opportunities for all, realistic reforms, and enhanced peace and security in the state. And if you check, since May 29 last year and up until now, Delta State had not witnessed any incident at all. In fact, the last Christmas was celebrated in peace. But the peace of the state was shattered when, as you said, some policemen around at a pin-down point around the Ughelli area, were killed by criminals, followed by the Quagmire incident where those 17 soldiers were also murdered. Delta State is a peace-loving state. I am from Delta Central. The Urhobo people do not kill people. We cherish life. And unfortunately, Quagmire is an Urhobo community.
So what is going on?
So it's unfortunate that has happened. And we saw a video. All Nigerians saw that video of a young man who came out to advance some reasons why. There's no reason anybody will give for the killing of anyone, not talk less of those who have laid down their lives, soldiers who have laid down their lives for the rest of us to have peace, to protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria. At the burial of the soldiers in the military cemetery in Abuja, my governor was there, His Excellency Tariff was there. I was there too, along with, he led a high-powered delegation to the place and to commiserate. He still feels very pained, and is working behind the scene to ensure that the situation is removed.
I appreciate this background you have provided, Igor. But the question again is, what was responsible for these gruesome killings? You are an Urhobo person. You are from that. I don't think you are from Okwama, but I know.
Yes, I'm from Delta Central.
You are Urhobo, and you are from the Central District.
To listen to what the Chief of Defense Staff said, General Christopher Musa, he said the Lieutenant Colonel that was killed, Ali, he's one of the best they have.
Absolutely, he had distinguished himself in Borno State and that axis, northeast axis, and that he was
specifically brought there to try and stem the tide of airborne crane to stabilize the area. So apparently, if it's coming from the Chief of Defense Staff, that one of the core area of responsibility or mandate given to the officer was to ensure that airborne crane in that area, in that axis, is taken care of, then it means that possibly that the attack will be related to that. Now there's a military panel going to investigate all of this, so we also hope
that leads me to my next question, Igor. A number of persons have been declared wanted, maybe about 10 of them or so, apart from the traditional ruler who voluntarily gave himself up to the police, and the police later on handed him over to the defense, to the military, and I think he's been flown to Abuja. But there is one of the major, the ringleaders of this whole incident, Endurance Amagbeyin. Where is he, Igor? Where is he?
Well, the military says they are looking for him. There's a dragnet now. They have spread the dragnet to other communities.
I'm asking, and I'm sure Nigerians are interested, Igor, because this is over a month now, if I'm not mistaken. You mean somebody, an individual, who has committed or who has allegedly perpetrated this
heinous crime.
Heinous crime
Very heinous,
can disappear into thin air. Where is this guy? You go. I mean, that's why I keep saying. I mean, you're a seasoned journalist, with a reputable media organization. What are your what feedback are you getting? Where is this guy? Where could he have disappeared to? Because we're not condemning him as guilty as alleged. That is the job of a court of competent jurisdiction to determine his guilt or otherwise. But where is this guy?
Yes,
People can't kill Nigerian soldiers, of that caliber and just disappear into thin air.
Yes, I think if you look at what is going on there, the Commissioner of Police himself came on air to say he also made effort to enter the community. Basically, crimes of this nature are best investigated by the police. Yes, the military they have their own.
They have the military intelligence, they have the SSS
and all of that. But you see, the police are closer to the people. They are closer to the communities. The police apparently will also have an idea of who this individual is. So I will. As I said earlier, it's a very sensitive issue. It's not something, since investigations are on, it is difficult for anybody to sit in a place and then draw any conclusion at this point. But as you rightly pointed out, it's over a month now, and they are still looking for
I'm afraid,
that individual.
There's so many cases that have gone cold like this.
The creeks are
it's a very tortuous and very dangerous
difficult
environment
area to find anybody.
Exactly.
The person
If you're not familiar with the terrain.
Yeah, so it's going to be relatively
If this guy goes embedded into any of those creeks.
it's going to be difficult, to find him. And of course, for a high-profile individual like that, who has been
someone who has committed such a high-profile crime.
Yes, exactly. So
allegedly.
he knows he possibly know where to run to, and for him and others, to be involved, to be allegedly involved in the killing of those soldiers, they must have had their own escape plans, and all of that. So I think that's also why the military is doing cordon and search operations. But I think it is important to bring in the police. That's the civil force. We are running a constitutional democracy over a month after. March 14 was when this incident took place, and nobody has been able to assess the community. I think, in my opinion, the military should also open up a bit, so that if people are returning to the community, they will be able to volunteer information to investigators. But if you chase them away, it's difficult.
Let me dig further on what you just said now. What is the state of the community, the Okwama community? Are the residents allowed? Are they allowed there now, or they're still not allowed in that community?
They are not allowed. Nobody's there at all.
Wow.
Only the military. They cordon off everywhere. They have even expanded their search to other communities. If you check in Rivers State, they even went there to this repentant Niger Delta militant whose house was invaded. They call it Sagba. I can't remember his name now. It was in the news lately, and that he even claimed that the military shot
something, a papa or something. Because I saw
they shot 2 of his aides.
Elder statesman, Father.
Exactly. He's now a pastor also.
Edwin Clark too's house was
invaded.
and all of that.
But I think the military also have to be a bit careful because the military has a lot of sympathy. Beyond Delta State, Nigerians sympathize with the military. They are our soldiers. These are not foreign soldiers. So. And the policemen that were killed, and Nigerian policemen, everybody sympathizes with them. But if it is not properly handled, if it's innocent people now being harassed and they're closed down, of course.
What is the condition of the people of Okwama? Where are they staying? In camps
Many of them
or
are
in other communities?
In the forest and in the bushes. They can't even...
For how many weeks? For 4 weeks now? 4 weeks plus
it's a long time. In fact, we hear that a lot of them have died in the bush and they are starving to death. And because the military have closed down the place. So if you also come in and they will think you are one of those that is involved. It's a difficult situation, It's a difficult situation to be... For women and children, I would have expected at least the military to...
And I remember the governor had complained, that's your principal had complained that he was not allowed access into the community.
He didn't really quite complain. He's not a man that complains.
He
also understands. He understands the sensitive nature of the. And so the military.
Of the incident.
Yes, the military are quite very, very unhappy over. So the governor wants to allow the military to do their work, allow the security agencies to. He's working behind the scene, and then he's also reaching out to the communities. He has instructed the traditional rulers to go out to provide necessary information to the security services. So we hope that very soon all of this will come to an end and people can return to their normal lives.
Igor, we'll take this short break and then when we come back, we'll look at other issues.
Yeah.
We'll take this short break and when we return, we'll continue with our conversation. Please stay with us, please. Welcome back. Okay, Igor, I saw Governor Doye Diri of Bayelsa State yesterday visit a town called Igbomaturu, if I'm not mistaken, and a predominantly Igbamaratu, a predominantly Ijaw community. Still on this issue of the killings, to appeal to them to ascertain their state of comfort or otherwise. And, the visuals I saw on television, the people of that community didn't look too happy. I mean, you could see on their faces that they were under some serious distress. There was claim that only one person who's the wanted guy, the main guy, I think his building is there. And I think they said the soldiers leveled it. But apart from that, nobody was killed because the concerns initially when this happened of most Nigerians, because we all remembered what happened under President Obasanjo. The Odi and Zaki Biam incidents where, the president gave a nod to the military to level those communities, as it were, But a good thing this hasn't happened, in this situation, and I must commend the military hierarchy for, to a large extent, haven't kept to the rules of engagement in this kind of situation. It's been very, I commend them for the restraints, the high-level restraints they've demonstrated. When I saw Dr. Governor Diodri yesterday going, of course, we know the nature of the Niger Delta. It's usually riverine to move around, speedboats and all of that. Why would Governor Diodri, I know you don't speak for him, but we're just enlightening the public. In the light of the last week's tragedy of this junior pope, this Nollywood actor that perished on the river, riding, cruising, going for a movie shoot, and then they capsized, and then they brought them out, they were dead. No life vest, no adherence to basic safety precautions. And I saw Governor Diodiri yesterday without life vest. What does this say to you about our level of carelessness? Because that smacks of sheer carelessness.
Well, that is not a very safe behavior. It's not a safe attitude. When he must have his reasons not to wear a life vest, but no matter what the reason is, it is not a proper...
And his handlers could not advise him that, sir, on no occasion do you get into this
were the handlers wearing their own life vest?
Some of them, especially there's one tall, very huge security detail, I suppose, who was wearing a life vest. But the governor did not wear a life vest.
But don't also forget, maybe on the human side of it, the governor is an Ijoma. Every Ijoma can swim very well. So it's not, it will not be a good thing to find the governor,
I agree with you to an extent, because when we were in Lagos as young boys, this Makoko area of Lagos State, this Egun people, Ilaje,
they can swim very well.
Oh, I remember we were chasing one petty thief who stole, and we were chasing him, and we were walking on that one of those lagoon. The guy dived into the ocean. That was the end. We stood there for hours. That guy didn't
you guys cannot swim.
We were just looking at him. Anyway, Igo. Okay, so as we prepare to round up, recently NERC, Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, hiked the electricity tariff from 68 to 225 naira. So you are in Bandhe, definitely. Yeah. You're one of the bourgeois who stay.
No, I live in a small rural area.
You stay in Guzape here.
No, I should be even in Bansi, I guess. But the band, we still.
Of course, there's no band. Everybody's paying the same anyway.
Exactly.
And there's no electricity. But Igo, what do you say to this? And I am asking this because where is the civil society that should serve as a buffer, as a safeguard between government and the people, the consumers? Let's even leave the FCCPC, the Federal Consumer Protection, whatever. I'm talking about civil society, especially Labour Congress, Nigeria, organized labor. What's going on, Igo?
Well, that's a very interesting question to ask. I would think that the resistance structure in Nigeria have completely disappeared. And so governments, particularly the federal
level... Sorry to interrupt you.
Just, yes.
I could never have imagined any government would dare this. You removed fuel subsidy, and then it sent the economy on a downward spiral. Yes. Then you closed the foreign exchange, you floated the naira, as it were. And the naira lost almost half of its value in less than a couple of months. Yeah. At some point, we're pushing north of 1,800, 1,900. Mercifully, that is coming down now. But then the inflationary figures came out, 32.8 or thereabouts. Yeah. Prices of goods and commodities have shot through the roof. But then you come and do this again.
Well,
and everybody made a few whimpers here and there, and that was the end of it. They seem to have gotten away with it. And so that's why I'm asking you, because you are the president of the Civil Liberties Organization. That when we were young men in those days in Lagos, this body you heard, Igo, was one of the bastions of resistance against military dictatorship. What's going on? Why are you guys quiet?
Well, the CLO is not quiet, even up until last month.
This is a flagrant infringement on the rights.
No, but if you look at the arguments that government is putting forward also, they're putting out the figures there and then the consumption pattern. And the CLO and other human rights organizations are also listening to the feelers of Nigerians. Nigerians are saying, look, they don't mind so much as to the increase, but provide power, provide electricity. That if it is there, they wouldn't even mind paying. So if Nigerians are saying that, they have passed the ball back to government. You know, and of course, even NERC has recently been very active.
How many hours of electricity do you have on average?
I think in my place is less than 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours.
In a day?
Yeah, 4 or 5 hours. I live in Kubwa area, you know, which is yesterday, day before yesterday, there was really no light. They just bring it, and then in 1 hour, 2 hours, they take it. You know, and so that is it. So I think the government again announced that the national grid has collapsed again. So we keep having collapsing national grid. We are not looking at other options of generating power.
Exactly.
Yes, I give it to Buhari that before the former president left, he liberalized the power sector, that states can generate electricity, and of course, you put some back on the national grid and then use some for the benefit of your state. So I think the state governors should take advantage of this liberal law now and then look at other options.
But you know, electricity is expensive. Most of the states can't afford it, except there's a joint action with the federal, states, and local
disagree.
governments.
The states can.
Ego,
because you can look at wind
the only
energy,
way they
solar
can,
energy, and
the
all
only
of
way
that.
they can, that's what I'm saying, there must be a concerted effort. You know, the federal government, the states and local governments must agree together. This federal allocation, Federation Accounts Allocation Committee money, you know, they share. If it's not done at source, whatever, because the governors, and that's not their priority. Their priority of the governors is to renew their cars, their SUVs, award dubious contracts to their cronies.
No, my governor, for example,
let's round up in 1 minute. Let's round up on this. Some have accused your principal of, I don't want to use the word they used, but let me say, not living up to, you know, par as a governor. That was just put there by the outgone governor Okowa, just to be a rubber stamp, a stooge. What do you have to say?
No, that's not true. Those must be people
30 seconds ago.
They don't have information about what's going on.
Are you sure?
Delta. No,
but you don't live in Delta. You're in Abuja.
I live in Delta. I just returned from Delta 3 days ago. And
so
I'm from
your
the
governor
place.
is competent.
He's working. He's the first time
working.
Julius Berger in the state. The place is a construction site. The entire Delta state, the entire state.
We'll take a tour.
3 senatorial districts.
We'll
yes, I will invite you.
We'll
invite you.
One of these days.
It's interesting. Yes, the man is Governor Sheriff Oborevwori is not a man that is given to
showmanship,
television, blitzkrieg and all of that. He works, and Deltans are happy that he's pursuing his small agenda and is achieving results.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr.
It's a
Igo.
pleasure.
I appreciate your coming this afternoon.
It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Now, that's the program today. Like I always say, remember to follow me on my various social media handles. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can watch this particular video. Sometimes the video you see on television is shorter than what is on my YouTube channel. So that's why you should subscribe to watch the full-length interview. Also, drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And remember, change requires action, and positive change requires positive action. I believe in a new Nigeria, and it is possible. Bye for now.